Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 192, entitled Happy Third Birthday, Nintendo Switch. Woo! Everybody bring their cakes and balloons and... No.
I had brownies earlier.
Oh, okay, there you go. Barry celebrated. So
I celebrated.
Yeah. My name is Steve, and but I am definitely not alone tonight. We have a regular two guests, or a regular two. I called you guests. You're regulars. You're like host with me, co-host with me. Barry, how's it going? Bail me out here. I need some help.
Clearly, you're a little behind, but no, it's great to be back and to be doing this again, and welcome.
Yeah, for sure. And Greg, good to see you again. Always good to see you.
Yep, great. Yep, great seeing you guys as well. I'm always happy to be here.
Yeah, and tonight we do have a guest. That's what threw me off. Is Oni from NintendoEverything. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, cool. So before we jump into anything else, maybe there's some people out there that might have been living under a rock and don't know about NintendoEverything. So I want to give you a chance to get to just to share a little bit about what you guys do over there, your own podcast and everything. For us, I can't remember, when did you guys start NintendoEverything? Do you remember?
Oh God, the website or
yeah,
the podcast?
The website
itself started maybe 12 years ago, forever ago.
Yeah, I think it was not too long after, back when we were still WeNintendo.net. I think NintendoEverything started not too long after that, and then we switched over to NintendoFuse and everything. But I remember the early days of like actually checking you guys' website and like, oh, what do they got? And it was like one of our it's still to this day is one of the websites that we use a lot of times to make sure that we're up to date and make sure that we know what we're posting and covering on our podcast and everything too. So thanks for being a fellow journalist in the Nintendo gaming world and everything, and it's cool to have you. So tell us a little bit about your site, your podcast, all that stuff.
Sure. Okay, so it's not my site. First off, NintendoEverything is run by a big boss named Brian, and he's amazing. He works day and night along with our news team to do news updates 24/7, round the clock, no matter where you are in the world. You get updates. So we've been around 12-ish years, and we attend, lots of different events. We do as much partnerships as we can with other companies, try and bring up the little guy. I joined the team 2-ish years ago. Yeah, maybe 2.5 years ago now. And I am a Japanese translator. That's what I started off as, and a writer from time to time on there. And then I'll attend events as well. But the big thing that I've been doing lately is the podcast there. So we do a weekly podcast called the NintendoEverything Podcast, of course, very creative, imaginative name.
We got the NintendoFuse Podcast here, so yeah, we're all about creativity. Yeah.
And so I do that with my buddy, my childhood friend of about 20-ish something years, and we just kind of have a laugh on there. We talk about the weekly news, and we talk about what we've been playing and impressions and stuff like that. It's super chill. However, he is a huge pain in the butt. So I have to knock him down a peg every once in a while on, his nonsense. So we end up arguing a whole bunch on that. So if you like hearing two longtime friends argue, then you can for sure tune into the NintendoEverything Podcast.
Nice. Yeah, well, thanks so much for joining us. And Oni's going to jump right into the discussion with us on the rest of the news and everything. But before we jump into any of that, we want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for being here live. For those of you guys that are live on YouTube, thanks so much. If anything we talk about tonight interests you, be sure to throw your own comments and stuff in the chat room, and after the fact as well. Be sure to let us know what you think about any of the news that we talk about. And if you're listening after the fact, maybe on your favorite podcast app, be sure to subscribe to us there and leave us a positive comment. That'd be awesome. And of course, share this with others that might enjoy Nintendo as well. And also recommend the NintendoEverything podcast to them. That'd be great. So one of the things that we love to do, Oni, is to start off talking about what we've been playing lately. So as our guest, we'll go to you first. What have you been playing over the last maybe week or so?
Oh gosh, putting me on the spot.
Sorry about that.
First one. No, it's totally cool. So, gosh, I've been getting actually quite a bit of gaming in lately. I tripped and fell into a hole recently, and that hole is Breath of Fire 2 on the Nintendo Switch SNES app or whatever it's called. So that's an old game that I like to replay all the time. It's like a huge dose of nostalgia for me. I haven't replayed that game in forever, but now replaying it, I think it's a lot easier than it has a reputation for. It has a reputation for being like constant random encounters, super crazy hard, and both of those things are true, but not to like the level 10 that everybody says that it is. So I'm having a good time with it. There's a lot of systems that they don't explain too well, like the formation system, which is when you put your party together and like they deal different amounts of damage or receive different amounts of damage. And they don't explain that in the game like at all. And it is super integral. Like you can even switch your formations in battle and it doesn't teach you any of that stuff. So I think that adds to the difficulty. If you understand that system, then you're good. But that's just like an absolute treasure. I'm playing it in Japanese though, because the English translation is god awful. It's like notorious for being one of the worst translations, I think, of that era.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lucky you. The rest of us can't play it that way.
Right. Which reminds me, I forgot to thank you earlier, because I didn't realize that you're the person behind all the translations that we usually read on your site, and then that helps us as we're trying to cover everything. So thanks for translating everything.
Yeah, of course. I have to say that we have a couple other translators on the team too that kind of come and go with like availability. So it's definitely thanks to them as well too.
Yeah. But you were going to say something about.
Yes. Yeah. So the English translation absolutely garbage. The official one. There is an awesome fan translation that was redone. This is quite a while ago now. I want to say it was maybe 8 or 9 years ago now by a translator called Ryusui. And you can follow him on Twitter. I think his Twitter is like @the_Ryusui. And he completely reworked it along with like some other people who have redone the code and whatnot. It's just a patch that you apply on top of your game, which you can play legally if you have the cart, and then you can play it like in a Retron 5 or something like that. Or you can play it any way you can. And that is probably the best way for English speakers to experience Breath of Fire 2, because they put like so much effort into that. It's like it breathes new life into that story, and the story is really good.
Cool. Yeah. That's awesome.
Sorry.
No, that's great. That's
exactly
that's
it,
so
yeah.
cool. Yeah. Hey, Greg, how about you? What you been playing lately?
Well, since we didn't have the podcast last 2 weeks ago, I managed to actually complete Luigi's Mansion 3 this time around. So I went through and actually beat like the final boss. I collected all the gems, went back and found all of that kind of stuff. So like I did my version of 100% complete. I didn't do all the achievements because I don't really do online multiplayer very much. So yeah, that was nice to get that game off the backlog. And then I did also jump into Super Lucky Tales, as I said 2 podcasts ago, or the last podcast, which is a month ago. Got to the first world there and having a blast with that. I mean, that's so incredible just to play an awesome like 3D and /2D platformer and a collectathon type game. So far I'm at 100% through World 1, and I'm already started through World 2. So making some pretty good progress and moves along pretty quickly. So
yeah, that's cool.
And of course, as my normal citation, it's always in addition to my dailies and weeklies of Fire Emblem Heroes. Still huge fan, playing it since the first day for Dino's references. So,
and the occasional Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, none this last month though. So
it's too bad.
Really
Daughter's not asking to play, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but I am closer to setting up the NES Classic and the SNES Classic since we got like a new TV. So that'll be nice to actually try those out once it's up and running.
Oh, that's true. Did you get to hook up your new TV yet?
Yeah, the TV is all hooked up. I haven't hooked up the little plug and play things yet. So
nice. You enjoying it?
Yeah, the TV is incredible. Like, we're really enjoying watching movies, and I was playing some Luigi's Mansion 3 on there, and it's just so awesome. Just colors, everything is perfect.
Yeah, nice.
So jealous.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Let's go to the chat. Jakester says that he also finished up Luigi's Mansion 3, and he's almost done with Tales of Vesperia. So that's awesome.
Awesome.
Barry.
I love Vesperia.
Yeah.
And that's one of my homework assignments from Barry. So
Yeah. Tales of series is very close to my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Barry, what you been up to lately?
Trying to think. So the last thing we did, I think I was still playing Tokyo Mirage Sessions, Sharp FE, which I did finish. I did finish that. I absolutely loved it. That combat system is unbelievably awesome. I loved the story. I loved everything. You know, the whole censorship didn't faze me. I don't care. I love just good game. And then I went on to my most anticipated game for the month of February, which was Darksiders Genesis, because I'm a huge Darksiders fan. And I'll tell you, about level 5 or chapter 5, I was ready to quit. Not that the game was bad. It was just inconsistency with chapter lengths. Like chapter 2, 3, and 4 took me maybe 30 minutes, and chapter 5 took me like 2 hours. I was like, whoa, okay, you know. And then chapter 6 was a boss fight, so it was done in 5 seconds. So I was like, okay, a little inconsistency. But then it started hooking me, and I started having more fun and got new abilities. It's definitely one that if you want 100%, you do have to go back. In an interesting twist, the map actually shows you all the collectibles. It'll actually show you where all the collectibles are and put a check mark if you've gotten them. But for that one step forward, it takes 2 steps back because it doesn't show you where you are on the map. It just shows your general area, but it doesn't show you a little icon of where you are. So it's kind of interesting. I'm sure that'll be patched in, but it was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed playing through that. And then I started the next game, which I didn't expect to be pulled into, which was Rune Factory 4 Special. And I played the original. And I am in love with this game. This game is Secret of Mana meets Zelda meets Harvest Moon with an insane crafting system, a cool story, tons to do. You're never bored in this game. Just fantastic. And I'm very much looking forward to Rune Factory 5, and I'm only just over a third of the way through the game. So I definitely recommend it, 100%.
Cool.
Outside of that, just my standard Dragalia Lost on mobile, Mario Kart Tour on mobile, and Final Fantasy 14 on PC.
Nice. I have been. You guys can take a guess. What do you think I've been playing lately?
I'm gonna say
Rocket League.
Oh yeah, definitely Rocket League. Yes,
maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Definitely not.
Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah, it's definitely been one of those. The last couple of weeks has been not a whole lot of time, and like I said on the last podcast too, I've been trying to put a whole lot more effort into really ranking up in Rocket League. So that's kind of been my thing over the last several months, but especially the last few weeks, because I'm really trying to make a run for a higher rank and everything. I don't think I'm ever going to get Grand Champion or anything like that, but it'd be really cool to make maybe a Champion 1. So I got a little bit to go, but I feel like every day I'm getting better and better. I also tried out Warface. I don't know if you guys have tried it,
first-person shooter, right?
It's okay. It's a free-to-play game, and it's a free-to-play game. It's yeah.
Sorry, did you say it was Warface?
I think it's what it's called, right?
I think
so.
Warface.
It's
a first-person shooter that was freebie or something.
Yeah.
That is a bizarre title.
It is.
Think yeah, I'm not familiar with it at all. So maybe people have heard it enough, and it's just kind of in one ear out the other. But for me, I'm like, Warface. The face is
right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's yeah, so you can go up to 32 players online, so it's not Battle Royale with 100 players like Fortnite or Apex or anything like that. But it's okay. It's like I said, it's free to play. There's no desire at all to put any money into it, and that's okay because you can experience it and enjoy it as much as you want without putting any money into it. Similar to Fortnite and those games, but yeah, it's not anything to write home about, but it's worth trying if you like FPSs. For me, it might be one of those things that I'll just pop on every once in a while, just to try a couple of rounds. But it's okay. It's cool to they did incorporate motion controls, so if you do enjoy moving around and looking with motion controls, it's a little better. But yeah, it's just okay. I did get another game though that I was hoping to get a chance to play before tonight, because it was 20 cents or 14 cents or something like that on the eShop. It's called Mad Age and This Guy. So yeah, Mad Age, and this guy. Yep. So it's like 14 cents. So
sounds like a 14-cent
you know,
title.
It's supposed to be like a Bomberman.
$40,
right? It's supposed to be like a Bomberman versus like, I don't know, like it's a top-down sort of adventure thing. I don't know, but I was like, hey, it's 14 cents, and I had, I think, just enough in eShop credit from buying other games, so I went ahead and cashed them in. But yeah, maybe I'll get a chance to play it by next podcast. A couple other things, and then I'll refer to the chat because it's kind of getting interesting. And a couple other things, like physical gaming, or actually physical gaming, but not Switch related, is I picked up Mario Kart diecast Hot Wheels that I found at Walmart the other day, so that was pretty exciting. Like, it's got Mario, Bowser, Luigi, and Black Yoshi. Not really sure why they chose to do Black Yoshi instead of green, but
for
cool.
the diversity, I guess.
I guess. Yeah. Why not?
They sold those separately, but I didn't see a 4-pack.
Yeah, it's a 4-pack. So that was cool. And then so this is kind of funny. I got a very, very late Christmas gift just the other day because my brother-in-law, we met up with him and we hadn't seen him since Christmas, and so he brought me my Christmas gift, and I was very excited to see this. So.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, for those of you that are audio listeners, yeah, it's I don't know what size this is, like 1/8 or something like that. But Mario Kart RC car. So I haven't, of course, brought it out of the box yet, but I'm really, really excited to play around with it. I have the small Yoshi one that I think we talked about like a few years ago back when I got it. But I was really excited to get the Mario, like the bigger Mario one and everything. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Is it completely like remote controlled and stuff too?
Yeah. So like, I don't know if I can show the back of it, but yeah, it does like 360 spins as well and wheelies. You can do drifting in it as well, and yeah, so it's got a race mode, anti-gravity mode, and yeah, you can just go left and right. It's like a regular RC car, but with a couple extra things. Well, if the thing doesn't
go upside down, then you need to just take it back to the store.
Right. Yeah, I'll see how far the anti-gravity mode goes.
Right. Does it come with banana peels or spiny shells? Or
no, but I got some bananas in the kitchen. So
remember those RC cars that like they flipped over, like you worked on either side. Like that's what it should have been.
That would be cool. Yeah, because it was flat enough where the wheels like worked on both sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just have Mario's head like flip to the other side.
That's true. That could be crazy. All right, so I want to go back to the chat. We got True Mobius is asking a question for you, Oni. Why are you always so mean to Galen all the time?
That's Galen, actually.
Or was it Galen? Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's totally cool. That's fine. Mispronounce his name because that is Galen, actually. True Mobius is nobody but Galen.
Oh, and, it is him.
He's come here to ruin the show.
I had a feeling it was him. So.
Yeah.
Nice.
So very sorry. I can't get rid of him no matter how hard I try.
Well, next time we'll have to have him on so he can then say his piece.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
Oh, so Hassan's saying that they were all individually, and now the 4-pack has the exclusive Black Yoshi. So was the individual yellow or green Yoshi?
Green, I think light blue as well, if I remember correctly.
Well, I need to go back and get the others then. So.
I hate when they do that, especially after the fact. I don't mind it like at launch of a toy product, but after the fact, after they've sold the individuals, they have some left over. Let's bundle it with an exclusive to get people to double dip. It's just mean.
Well, I'm glad I missed out on the individuals then.
Yeah, Steve, you came in on the background, so you were totally fine with that, right?
Totally. Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is great. I don't have to purchase them individually. I picked up the whole pack. Yeah, I was thinking they also have these the penny cars or something like that as well, but they're not made by Hot Wheels. It's some other company, and I was like, I had them in my bag, and I'm like, nah, I don't need those. So that's what I
need all the Nintendo merchandise.
Yeah, I'm running out of shelf space back there, though. All right. So before we jump into the news, I want to know, a little video game movie came out a couple weeks ago. We talked about it a little bit. Did you guys get a chance to see the Sonic movie yet?
I have not.
Not? Greg, did you get a chance?
Not yet, but I did mention it. We might look at it when it goes to our discount theater, like when they get them after it's been in the normal, expensive theaters after a period of time. So
okay.
We didn't know if it was worth paying full price for, but we might go see it when it's at the reduced $4.50 for like a single ticket.
Nice.
That's really cheap. Wow.
Yeah, it is. Oni, did you get to see it yet?
I didn't, and I kind of don't have plans to see it. I just don't care, man.
Yeah.
Like, I still haven't seen like the Pokemon movie either.
Oh,
It's
man.
just
That was good.
yeah, I'm sure they're fine, and I'm sure that lots of people like them. And I've been hearing that the Sonic movie, is pretty all right. And I'm really happy for Sonic fans because those guys and gals deserve a win. It just can't be a normal thing to like Sonic anymore.
Right.
It always has to be a weird thing. So I'm very happy for them, but
Yeah.
I am just not part of that movie-going crowd.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I went ahead and seen it. So yeah, my wife had some girls over last week, and I was like, I need something to get me out of the house. The Sonic the Hedgehog movie's out, so I went and saw it and everything. But yeah, like, basically what you guys have said, it was good, but save your money, Greg, and watch it at a discount theater instead. It's definitely not something you have to run out to watch today at all, but it's worth it eventually. But yeah, not something you have to watch tonight. So
Yeah, I think we'll definitely be taking my daughter because she's actually been watching like some Sonic cartoons on Netflix right now. So like she's been really infatuated with that. So I've never seen those before, so that's really nice. I get to watch them with her, so really enjoying that. So getting to know more about the Sonic verse.
nice.
The still waters run very deep with the Sonic verse.
Oh yes, the Sonic. Now is she watching Adventures of Sonic Sonic the Hedgehog with Scratch and Grounder? Or is she watching Sonic Sat AM or Sonic Underground or Sonic X? What is she watching?
I thought it was just called Sonic the Hedgehog, to be honest, on
That's probably
on
the one-
Netflix, whatever. I mean, it's probably like the.
Oh, no, Sonic the Hedgehog was just Sat AM. That's the one with Princess Sally and the really dark Robotnik that they end on a cliffhanger and never finish.
Oh, I hate that.
Forever we'll never know what happens.
Yeah.
Nice. Hudson said he saw it and he thought that the updated CGI worked well. I did too. I am so glad they went back and spent whatever it cost to update that CGI because it was so bad. But
it was like $50,000 or something stupid, cheap in comparison.
But yeah, the new stuff looked really good. Yeah, I was pleased with it, and yeah, I liked the Detective Pokemon movie better, but that doesn't mean that Sonic was bad. It's actually one of the better video game movies that I've seen, actually. So.
Yeah, that's great. I have to be honest and say that I'm a little bit disappointed that they updated the CGI on Sonic,
Really?
just because I enjoy, the Schadenfreude, the enjoying when something else is suffering. I really wanted to see that terrible movie with that horrifying little person in a fursuit, and he has so many teeth. The teeth were the worst part.
Yeah. It really was.
I hope they put that on the Blu-ray or something.
We
like,
totally
you can
needed
get the
yes, we needed to do a whole social media plan and to get the original cut for sure.
Yeah. At least an assembly cut or something like that. I don't care if the things in the background aren't finished. I need to see that complete abomination moving and talking. Oh, it was so bad.
Well, at least we'll have the trailer forever on the internet.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Just think of all the memes that could happen if they didn't update it.
Oh.
All right. Well, let's move into some news, and a little bit of news is the little Switch. The beloved system turns 3 years old today. It was 3 years old today. So like last year or like a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we were sitting there hoping and dreaming to be able to play this thing, and we finally got it. And here we are 3 years later. Looking back over these 3 years, are you satisfied? Are we feeling good about this system? What do we think? So Barry, which over the last 3 years, have you enjoyed your Nintendo Switch? What's some highlights of the last 3 years? Let's start off with the good stuff.
The Switch has quickly become my go-to system, one of my favorites, and while the library isn't as large as like the PS4, which obviously has a 3-year head start, it is miles above the Wii U and is quickly becoming the go-to system for all titles. Everything seems to be selling much better on the Switch. There's so many great compilations, so many older titles out there that are getting new life. A lot of ports that, portable games and that we never thought we would see on consoles, like Rune Factory, like I mentioned. I'm playing. I never thought that would be on a console. Granted, there's 2 Rune Factory games, but not like the proper numbered ones. We're getting a bunch of update Wii U titles and Wii titles and just some great new ones. I mean, you can't mention the Switch without Breath of the Wild, of course. But for me, my highlight was Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Torna. Like, that is still my favorite games, if you will, on the system. And that's
to play Torna still.
It's so good.
I'm totally behind on it.
Oh well. See,
you know what?
now you don't have to yell at me anymore. Like, at least I'm pretty far into the game.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You've only played Torna and you haven't finished it.
I decided to just jump past it. We could have the prequel before I go to the regular one, right?
But and then Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is going. But and that says a lot because this system is so many great RPGs. Oni mentioned Breath of Fire 2 on the SNES Online app. But then you've got Ys 8 is on here, which is fantastic. You have Tokyo Mirage Sessions. You've got the Darksiders games. You've got Rune Factory now. You've got all the Final Fantasies. -6 needs to get there quickly. Just so many left and right fantastic RPGs. And on top of that, you got just a great assortment of shooters and shmups and platformers and racing games. And while granted, some of the games don't look as pretty, like Witcher 3 doesn't look as pretty, but the fact that you have it portable, these are games we never thought we would see on a Nintendo platform. Witcher 3, Skyrim, Doom, let alone Doom Eternal coming out shortly.
Yeah.
Wolfenstein 2, Wolfenstein Youngblood, Bethesda alone on a Nintendo platform, that hasn't been that way since the id days, when they were independent. It's phenomenal. And I honestly think that, it has enough momentum to keep going. It really depends on what the PS5 and the Xbox Sex do. But of course, if those two are delayed due to some real world stuff, that could honestly help Nintendo out.
That's true. Yeah, I think what's one of the coolest things about the Switch is they really have been pulling in some other games. I mean, even things like we were so excited when games like Fortnite and when Rocket League came over and other things that we were so used to like being left out as a Nintendo fans, and all of a sudden now they're coming on the system. I mean, even games like Castle Crashers, which I was just like so excited, like wow, we actually have Castle Crashers on a Nintendo platform. Not that I like play it all the time, but it's just really cool to actually have it. Yeah, Diablo. Like things we never thought would ever grace a Nintendo system, and they're on there. So that's been really cool. Greg, any positive thoughts? What's your experience been over the last 3 years with the Nintendo Switch?
I've just absolutely been loving it. I mean, definitely around launch I was kind of weary, like without like too many games outside of Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey on the horizons, but that completely got shut down as soon as like they started bringing all their big guns and like, oh, here's Mario Maker, here's like Octopath Traveler, here's all this. Like it's just been a constant like hype train of all these great games like Fire Emblem Three Houses. Like everything has been just getting better and better and more releases over time. So my saving grace is just being able to play it, like what Barry said, like anywhere on the go. So it's like I'm primarily commute downtown. I don't always get TV time at home, so it's just great just to be able to play whenever and anywhere, like in my house or whatever outside the house. So that right there is my hugest selling point of like why it was made for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Oni, what's your highlights of the Nintendo Switch over the last 3 years?
Oh God, I mean, so many. Like, just like the guys were saying, because of it being like that hybrid console, you're always moving around, you're always doing stuff, going about your day, and that is kind of how life is just kind of going. Like, when you think about like teenagers nowadays, they're more busy and there's more pressures on them than there were when we were teenagers probably. So like having that system to take with you whenever you want and then put it on the TV whenever you want, that applies to like just modern life and the move of trends. So for me, I'm constantly taking that thing with me. I've always my entire life been a console gamer. Like even I had a Game Boy Advance and stuff like that, but I didn't play them too much just because I was always a TV gamer. And with the Switch, even though it is a hybrid console, I'm playing that thing constantly in handheld mode versus TV mode just because of the convenience. The screen is so nice, and it's a perfect size, I think, because you always want like kind of a larger electronic, but like too large is, not practical or whatever, but this is a perfect size. The library has just become like a JRPG haven, as Barry was saying. I am so big into JRPGs, so like that's a dream come true for me. So like I don't know like if that's like great in the gigantic discourse of what Switch is and its library, but for me, I am just like, high-fiving a million angels, like just throw it all at me. I'm totally good with it.
Nice.
Same here.
Well, and the cool thing is that even the games being region free. So do you play a lot of Japanese games from the Japanese eShop or something?
Absolutely, yeah. Like if I know a game is going westward that is, kind of a niche title, I will wait. This is pretty lame, but I will wait so I can show my support for the Western release, even though I'm just one sale, Just I try to do what I can.
Sure.
But when a sale gets only, a couple thousand, that one means more than to a million seller.
Yeah, that's totally true. So like I do generally wait, but of course like I'll buy games I'm like, oh, this is never coming west. And then like I don't know, we've seen the trend like most of the time these games are going to go west, and they do like years later. So like I bought the Snack World a couple of years ago that just came out on the Switch. I bought Work, which came out as Hero Land here in the West. I bought that years ago, and thankfully bought Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2 because that never went westward. It's a bit of a middling port.
Rumored now.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd be kind of surprised, to be honest, unless they did like a full rework of a lot of things, because it's a bit of a middling port. It's if it would keep a consistent 30 frames per second, it would be good, but it drops below 30 very, very frequently. And even though that doesn't hinder my experience too often, it's not ideal. I would recommend it. I would recommend Dragon Quest Heroes 2 to anybody on the PS4 for sure. That game is super good. It's like one of the best Warriors games ever.
See, it's funny you mentioned that, because as a physical collector, I'm going for the full US set of the Switch. And I also am going for a full English set. So if a game didn't come here but it got like a PAL release or an Asian release, I'll get it because it's playable in English, and there's some great titles that we didn't get. And starting off, there was a bunch, and I started getting, and slowly I started to notice I was now double dipping on titles I never thought, like Waku Waku Sweets. Like I never thought this game was ever going to come to the States. And sure enough, here it is, US version. I'm like, really? Like,
what did they call it in the West?
Waku Waku Sweets. It's still the same. It's the same thing, and it's just so funny, like the Tsukio shooting collection that just got released in the States. And it's like, wait, really? That's coming here? Like some titles that I never thought would ever grace, especially physical, are doing so, and it's a whole new can of worms. People are finding success, and they're bringing over niche stuff again, which is fantastic because I love niche titles.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm wondering like what is the reason for that, because we know that the carts are typically like more expensive at a developer cost than like CDs or something like that. So I'm wondering like where is that push, because we're seeing a lot of that on the Switch, right? Like all of these titles going west.
But then at the same time, we have companies like Crapcom, which are giving us a compilation with one game on the card, and then the rest download. And it used to be just, only in America, but now like Devil May Cry Trilogy just came out in Japan, and it's only the first game on the card, and the 2 and 3 are download. And it's like, really? Yeah. I mean, come on.
yeah, like, I don't know. Taking out like business sense from it, like it makes me think like, well, at least make that like cheap. Instead of like, okay, so for example, with Capcom especially, like, I'm sorry, I'm totally derailing this.
That's all right. No.
Steve, just interrupt me anytime. But like with Resident Evil on Switch, the like 4, 5, and 6 came out, right? And even 1 and 0, those came out, and they were higher launch price on Switch than they were launch price on PS4. Like, of course, they're going to be more expensive on the Switch at the moment because like they just came out, right? So you can't say, oh, it should have come out for $7 or whatever. But like it came out at like 30 for all those games. It's like those games launched years ago on the PS4 for 20 and the PS3 for 20. How are you doing this to, consumers? That's why I haven't bought any of them.
Not only that,
I love those.
When they released physically 0, 1, 1 as the Origin Collection, it's just 0 on the card. And 4 came out the same day, and people cried for a physical of 4. So they delivered by doing the triple pack, which is 4, 5, and 6, but only 4 is on the card. 5 and 6 are downloads. And it's just like, no, you're not getting the message.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Mega Man, like they put a beautiful box set in Japan that has Legacy Collection 2 and X Legacy Collection 2 physically in English. Fully in English. You can get the whole box set. The only way to play Legacy Collection 2 physically, and it's just at least physically on the Switch. And it's just like, why can't you do that here?
Yeah.
It's already in English. All you have to do is put a different box art, and you people would buy it.
Yeah, that's totally true.
Yeah, Barry, how many just only boxes do you have that just came with download codes?
In America,
more than you'd hope.
It's close to 10, I think, at
10?
this point.
Wow.
And it's sad. Like, even Wolfenstein, Youngblood just did that. But then there's cases like The Outer World, which was announced to do that, and then it was delayed, and now it's going to be on card. So I can't figure it out. Nothing makes sense. Welcome to Nintendo.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, speaking of that, let's slide into the other side of the coin, right? All the last 3 years haven't been perfect. So, Greg, what are some of the downsides, the unfortunate sides of the last 3 years with Nintendo Switch?
Well, I'd kind of say like the first year had kind of like a very slow, like kind of release of games. Because for me, it was just like Breath of the Wild, and then the next one I really wanted was like Mario Odyssey. So that was quite a time to really fill. I mean, obviously Breath of the Wild takes obviously like days and hours and to complete, but I did end up getting Mario Kart just to kind of have something else to play, even though I already had it on Wii U and all that, and bought all the DLCs. So, and then I even got like Splatoon 2 kind of on a hinge and when it came out in July, but I didn't really even play it a lot, even to this day. So I don't know. I thought like it definitely had a very slow section of games, and now that we're 3 years in, it definitely is much better paced, and there's a lot more to look forward to, and there's constantly stuff to play. There's great indie titles coming down all the time. So yeah, I mean, I think the only other downside I've seen is obviously those Joy-Con drifting things. I mean, I've been dealing with that a little bit. I even noticed it in Luigi's Mansion. I'm trying to like point a certain direction, and he starts like walking, and it's like, what the hell? You're supposed to like stand still and let me like. So it led to some unnecessary like getting hit. So
yeah, I still have not experienced any drift at all. Like,
no way.
I think I'm one of the only people that have not experienced.
No, I haven't either.
You haven't either. So,
what?
But you also have that awesome heat damage.
That is true. I had heat damage, and my Switch, my original Switch did crack, but from the heat damage.
Wow.
But I don't have any Joy-Con drift. So, 1 for 2. So yeah, I'll say that. Like, my downside is that heat damage in the very beginning. Luckily, the newest ones are okay, and the Lite hasn't had any trouble with that. But yeah, that silly heat damage. Yeah, I hear you, Greg. But it was great that it picked up for sure. Because I think it was a little slow, but I think for a lot of people, like even like Hassan had said, like Zelda and Pokemon, all those different titles eventually coming out was just so huge, and we pretty much have like almost everything we'd want already on the Switch in this last 3 years, even though it was an unfortunate little slow start. Yeah. Oni, any negatives over the last couple of years that you want to kind of point out about the Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the drift. Like, I had a pair that was, bad, and then I sent it in, and thankfully it was under warranty. They sent me back, I think, a new one. I don't know. But then I think as we all kind of learned more, because I think drift was happening like a lot at a particular time after a certain time, we kind of realized, and what I think it is, and I haven't looked into it super a lot, but it's mostly like dust particles from like plastic rubbing off, like just normal, wear and tear, but it's getting stuck or something, and it's too sensitive or something, and where it makes the sensor connection inside the mechanism. So if you spray like, I don't know what it's called in English, this kind of spray that like, you know, helps it's like a liquid spray that you can spray on electronics. Weird that I don't know that in English. If you spray that helps to clean it out, or even if you use like canned air, that can help it a little bit too. But that's a huge downside. You should not have to do that as a consumer with such a regularity. Another thing kind of just the Joy-Con in general, like holding them sideways is not great. It's an option, so I'm not like super big on that. But the D-pad on the Pro controllers, that's an expensive freaking controller.
Yeah.
And the D-pad sucks. Like, it whatever it is underneath it is a cheaper thing than on any other Nintendo controller ever. Even the Wii U Pro controller, which I still love that controller, the D-pad on the Switch Pro controller is bad. Like I try and play, 2D games, which I always feel I should play with the D-pad, like subconsciously. And even when I go into a menu, even in like 3D games, I just always switch to the D-pad because that's just how my brain works. And even then, it always feels wrong. Sometimes I get the wrong input, even though I very, very clearly pressed down or whatever.
Which is weird, right? From the company that invented the D-pad.
Yes, invented and perfected it right away. Yeah. So what the hell, guys?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, and then something that I don't know if it's really a downside, but it's something that's looming, and this is something I'm definitely going to be talking about on the podcast. The Nintendo Everything podcast for months and probably years to come now. It's in the middle of a console cycle that the Switch came out, right? And what is going to happen, with the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever it's called, Series X. What is going to happen, during this time? Because it is very clearly less capable than, the PS4 and the current Xbox, but to a negligible degree. But in the future, there's going to be such a huge disparity that, developing multi-plat games for it is going to be potentially not even lucrative for a developer, for a big developer at least. Like, it's still going to be, I think, an indie machine because that makes perfect sense. But I don't know, it makes me nervous.
Yeah, for sure.
I almost see like a situation with the Wii, because a lot of people separated the graphics from the Wii to even like the Xbox and stuff like that. So
that's totally true.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's just gonna be like all companies are just gonna be like, oh, we're not gonna do a watered down port. Let's just not gonna go to Switch anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, because it could probably only last for a short amount of time, maybe 3, maybe 4 years at the most, that they'd be able to make those multi-platform games. And then, after that, is it really lucrative for them to keep pulling them over there? Yeah. Let's see. Let's do the chat real quick. Hassan said that he's had no drift, but then again, he has so many Joy-Cons that he doesn't use any pair more than once. Actually, he says that much. Hassan, how many pair of Joy-Con do you have? Throw that in the chat, because I know he's pretty much got almost all of them, except for I think he hasn't. I don't think he's imported like the same colors if they're in Japan exclusive or something like that. But I think he's pretty much got every color available.
He doesn't have the Labo one though.
Oh, he doesn't yet.
I almost bought that one that he's talking about too. The opposite purple and orange Joy-Con. I almost bought those because I was in Japan recently for like work and pleasure as well, and I went to the Nintendo store and I was like, oh man, I've been wanting those colors so bad because that's like my favorite combination of colors, and now I wish I had bought them.
Yeah. Nice. Jakester says he thinks his least favorite thing about the controllers is how expensive they are. They are expensive, and I think that every time that I consider getting another Pro controller, because I've got 2, and I was like, do I need 4 for just in case if I have a party or something like that? But I'm like, I don't want to drop another $70 on another controller. Like, that's a lot of money. Yeah. But I agree with the Joy-Cons. They're like, they're convenient, I guess, somewhat, because they attach, but they're not that great. Barry, what's some other unfortunate things about the Nintendo Switch over the last couple of years?
I will echo the sentiment about the Joy-Cons. I do play my Switch 99% of the time docked. So I always have that Pro controller, and I have multiple. So when one dies, I play it till it eventually dies. I just put it on the charger, next one, and I'm always have rotating. I love the Pro controller. The D-pad's never bothered me as much. I know it's not the greatest, but I make do. I would say the release windows of titles. Nintendo is very, very poor when managing their releases. They are very much a back-heavy company, and their front ends are always dry. It launched heavy with Breath of the Wild, but then there was like really Mario Kart was like I think the next month, and then it was a couple of months to ARMS, and like it's very sporadic for their early year release, and 2018 was the same thing. We had Kirby, Star Allies, and like almost like nothing else until June, and even last year we had Mario Deluxe and Yoshi Crafted World, and then nothing really until again June with Mario Maker 2. But then you look at the back half, and you got Demon X Machina, you got Astral Chain, you got Luigi's Mansion, you've got Dragon Quest 11, you've got all these games, Pokemon, and it's just back heavy. And in 2018, you had your three biggest games, which was Smash, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee, and Super Mario Party, and all three of those titles came out in the last 3 months of the year. And I think that's where they really need to get going. And so far this year hasn't been terrible. We had Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which is a port, and we've got Animal Crossing coming up next month. And then we Pokemon Mystery Dungeon this week. Again, that's another remake though. It's not a new game. They really need to fix that. They need to spread their releases, because I think like some of the titles like Demon X Machina last year should have gotten more love. I really enjoyed it, but it's actually going to Steam because it was cannibalized. It was sent out with Link's Awakening and Luigi's Mansion like right between them.
And Astral Chain too.
And Astral Chain. It was like it's too much, but at least Astral Chain did well. And Dragon Quest 11 was right there as well. It's a 100-hour RPG, and it's like
nuts last year, wasn't it? Like I haven't even touched some of those games that I bought, and I was so excited for so many of them.
It was too much, and it was too much at too quick of a pace. You didn't really get time to enjoy them, because if you just wanted to play everything, you did a little bit of everything. That's probably my biggest complaint. Again, the price on controllers is a little high. I haven't felt the need to go and get more controllers. At first I was going to do what Hassan did. Like, oh, look at these Joy-Con colors. And like when they announced ARMS was going to have the yellow controllers, I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to go for all the controllers. And then when I realized they're 40 a piece, I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that. I have a few sets of Joy-Cons, but it's really not. It's not something I need. And even playing portably, I got the Demon X Machina Joy-Con things, and I like those for the few times I ever play portably, because the Joy-Cons are a little small. Otherwise, the issue about third parties and about ports from other systems, that's something I've echoed before. Right now we're at a good point where they can take 360 and they can take PS3 games and bring them over, and they look okay, and they can do that with some PS4 and Xbox One. But when the next systems come out, how many more years is are there going to be PS4 versions or Xbox One versions? Probably 2021, maybe into 2022. Outside of sports, not that the Switch gets those anyways, and that's really where it's going to dry up. Legacy Edition. And that is a big concern, and that's the reason why I echoed last year. I think we might get a Pro, and this year I predicted a Pro, which may not happen. But if we don't get a Pro in 2021 or a Switch 2, I think Nintendo might be in trouble, because right now the Switch is doing fantastic and is outselling the other systems, as it should be, because the majority of people who want a PS4 already have a PS4, and the majority of people who have an Xbox One already have an Xbox One. And do I think the Switch is going to meet the PS4 numbers? It's possible, but that really depends on how much longer they support it and how the rest of the market is. Because if PS5 comes out with a killer app, or Xbox X comes out with a killer app, and it's like, oh my God, Switch what? That could just really hurt. And we've seen that happen before.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and who knows what they're going to do, trying to copy at least some aspect of the Switch as well. Whether that be bringing, those Xbox games and PlayStation games to a tablet that people already have, or if they're going to have some mobile component to it or whatever. You know that they're going to be doing that, which is going to take even more attention away from the Switch. Like, what if you can play a 4K game on the go? Switch is not going to look that cool anymore.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that stands out to me for sure, and I'm surprised we haven't talked about it yet, is the online service.
I don't play a lot of online, so
either do I.
And I think I know why, because it's not that great.
I pay for it, but I don't really use it.
Right? Yeah. I think we had so much promise, I think, in the beginning, and especially since we're now paying for it. I think before we were like, you know what? It's free. It could be better, but you know what? They're giving it to us for free. Now that we're actually paying for it, I think we have a little more room to complain. And so, it'd be better if we had better connection and stuff. Like, I don't remember the last time I played Smash Online because it was so bad, which is really unfortunate because I expected it to be better since we're paying for it. I want to know what those deals are that we are supposed to get special deals by being a Nintendo online subscriber, but I haven't seen any special deals other than being able to access these controllers. That's about it. I'm like, no, I want an actual deal like we get on PlayStation and Xbox. Those things like that, I'd like to see more games pop out for the NES and SNES Online. We were getting a pretty steady number of those games for a while, and then all of a sudden it's like maybe 2 every 2 or 3 months now. So it's really slowed down, and it doesn't seem like they're putting any extra effort into making that a worthwhile investment. So if it wasn't for games like Rocket League that I really have to play online, I'd be thinking about cutting that back and maybe actually canceling my subscription. So I'm holding on for certain aspects, but it's not that worthwhile of an investment, I don't think, as I thought it would be. So.
Yeah, that's totally true. Like, so the problem with like Switch Online and like the NES library and SNES library is that like eventually, and probably sooner than later, Nintendo will see the lack of returns on adding and spending money on adding games to those apps because nobody's buying them, right? So that's like the problem with it, is that there's eventually going to be like a cap for them. So then why would they add that many more games? So like every 3 months or something like that, you'll get a couple of games. Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's not really enough to make me stay subscribed into the service. I mean, don't get me wrong. Right now, my gem is a game from 1993. So, like, right. I'm sort of, eating my words right now. But, especially about the stability and stuff online, right? Like, especially because it was free for, like, what, a year and a half? Mm-hmm. A year and a half when the system was out?
September of 2018, I think it went up.
Yeah. It doesn't feel so much like, okay, now you're paying, we're doing more dedicated servers, we're putting more money into it. It felt like they took away a feature, and that was the biggest insult to it. It's like, at least have dedicated servers for your biggest games, Mario Kart, Smash, Splatoon, right? So I totally, wholeheartedly agree with you on that.
Yeah, Jake.
That's something I never thought about either. Like the whole... well, you know what? We're not seeing as many people subscribe anymore, so we're not going to put forth the extra effort to put more games on it. But people aren't subscribing because they're games that they want to see, like Jake Steer wants Earthbound, are not there. And it's a catch-22, really. Mm-hmm. And I definitely see. And like the last batch, and we said it before, like there was no big hook. There were niche titles. There were some great titles, some that we never got in America. That's not going to let average Joe say, "Oh, I need to subscribe to the online for Super Twin Bee." Like, no, you need those book titles there, and then you throw in the niche ones as well as supplement, and then say, "Okay, well now this month has this game that I'm really looking forward to, and while I'm here, let me check out the other games." And I'd love to know the percentage of usage of those two apps, like how often are people playing them, and I have a feeling that the novelty has worn off, that the vast majority of gamers on the Switch are not using them, or at least not using them often, especially with all the other quality releases we've had. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at that and say, hey, you know what? Like 2% or 3% are really using this. So we could do a couple titles after a couple months and toss a bone to them. It's not like people really are caring for it. And meanwhile, everyone online is like, no, we want this title. Bring us this. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Sometimes Nintendo is as blinders,
that's true.
Yeah.
Greg, I'm interested because you're almost primarily, I mean, I wouldn't say always, but a lot of times you're a portable gamer with the Switch. So like with that in mind, when your renewal comes up, are you going to be renewing your online subscription, or is this one of those things you're like, I may drop it because I only game on the go and I really have it's not enticing you enough to keep renewing it?
I think it kind of depends. Like, I initially got it because I was really wanting it for Mario Maker, but I haven't even booted that up and, like, I don't know, not played extensively for quite a while. So, I mean, I'm kind of on that fence where it's like, why am I paying for this if I'm not even using it? Like, I don't really play online games. I'm not really playing, like, Mario Kart, or even, as I said earlier, like Luigi's Mansion. I didn't even fire up the online. I've never played an online version of Smash yet. I mean, so
You're not missing
cloud
much.
saves. That's why.
The cloud saves, those are nice, but they're not actually even universal. It's like some games don't have them.
Yeah.
That is so lame too. Like we talked about that on the Nintendo Everything podcast last week and probably some episodes before, but just like the inconsistency with that, right? It's so obnoxious.
And not only that, but then you get these physical releases like Tetris 99 and Mario Maker 2, where it's like, hey, for $10, we're going to give you an extra year subscription with it as a bonus. And like, oh, that's so cool. Thank you so much. But if you have a family plan, like I do, you can't use those codes. And that is just an insult. Like, they should do something for those that have the family plan and then pay the extra money for those, those versions. It's like, oh, let's throw you a bone. Thank you for being such a loyal customer that not only do you have it, but you're also purchasing our games. But no, they don't. They're like so out of touch. Like, nope, sorry, you can't use it.
Yeah. That's weird, but I don't know. We'll see how the next couple years go as the Nintendo Switch gets older and older. Maybe it will mature. Maybe we'll get that Pro Edition. Maybe we'll just jump up to the Switch 2 or whatever other name they come up with. Who knows what the next few years are going to be like. But Jakester brings up a game that may actually draw people to online, potentially, and that's Animal Crossing New Horizons. And we actually got a Nintendo Direct, not an official full-blown Nintendo Direct. We're still waiting on that one. But it was supposed to launch sometime in January or February. It's now March. But we did get an Animal Crossing focused one, and there was a lot. It was nearly 30 minutes of just Animal Crossing goodness. And so if you're a big fan of Animal Crossing, you were probably pretty excited. If you're not an Animal Crossing fan, you were probably bored out of your mind. But I'm going to quickly just glance through just a couple highlights, and then we'll kind of open it up for a discussion on what you guys think about all that. But yeah, the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Direct came out on February 20th, and we found out a bunch of stuff, mostly around Tom Nook's Deserted Island Getaway Package, which is kind of funny. It's just thing like Deserted Island Getaway Package. Like, I don't know if I want to go to Deserted Island. It sounds kind of fun for like a day, but I don't know if I want to settle there.
It's a deserted island with several other people already living there.
Exactly. So it's,
Tom Nook, please, a dictionary. Look up what deserted island means. Come on, bro.
But you know what? He's still gonna make money off of us. So
yeah.
But yeah. So basically, we have this remote desert island that you have some company on there, but you get to basically design your own island, and you have a bunch of stuff on this island. You can have a bunch of DIY materials and build your own things. You can have like these concrete goals and help offer guidance and inspiration on the island and take advantage of Nook's mileage program. There's island tours that you can like pilot around the island, and there's party play, so it allows you up to 8 people can come live on the island together with you, so that's pretty exciting. There's land development, and you can actually like pole vault around the island to go over bodies of water, but then eventually build bridges and slopes. And also there's Nook Link. And so I think it's funny, the press release even said that, like, yes, Tom Nook likes to put his name on everything. So it's part of the online app. So if it's good, you can be able to scan a custom designed QR code from games like New Leaf and Happy Home Designer to bring some of those aspects into the game, which is kind of cool. You can choose, when you're setting up the game, you choose your own island. You can pick in the northern hemisphere or southern hemisphere, so it has different seasons based on how you if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. There's an orientation that you can base on the island, resident services, you become a new homeowner, all these different things. There's an airport for the first time in the game, and so you can use the airport to travel around, of course. And then, of course, there is new residents like normal in your Animal Crossing game, but also there are going to be free updates. So just in case you're worried, you're going to have to pay for those updates. They did confirm that they're going to be free updates with a bunch of different special days and special items coming to the game and everything. And the first update's actually going to be on March 20th. And a whole bunch of other things. Amiibo support is confirmed as well. And so, yeah, there's a lot of different stuff, a lot of crafting, a lot of really making this game your own. And so I'd love to just kind of ask you guys what you think about this entire Direct. There was a lot that Tom Nook covered in this Direct himself. And so what do you guys think? So, Greg, I know you're not a huge fan of Animal Crossing, but what do you think about all this information? Is it enough to rope you in?
Certain parts were kind of like intriguing me to like, hey, maybe I can actually have fun with this game, and then there'd be something else to be like, oh, and show like stuff I wouldn't want to do, like fishing and just grinding for like random materials. And it was
Come on, Greg, one of us.
Oh, fishing is so much fun, though.
It's surprising.
That's always my least favorite part of the Legend of Zelda games, is like when they require you to do fishing for like a heart piece or some mainline story thing, like in Twilight Princess, where
this is
require
so
you to catch a
easy.
fish. Like,
When the bobber goes down, you push a button. That's it.
I mean, the fishing in Link's Awakening was already tough enough for me. I mean,
This is much
trying to
simpler
reel in
than
those
that.
stupid bloopers,
Yeah, this is just
for like tons of effort. Like,
This is nothing. This is a push a button. Your daughter could do it for you.
That's true. Just have her fish for you.
so I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still mildly interested to try it out and get a look at it, but I don't know if it's gonna get like an actual purchase. I might try like rent it from the library or borrow it, or whatever you mean. But that way I can at least say that I've tried it, and then once I see like, oh, this is actually a really good game, then I can go ahead and buy it from there. But I think that'd be the wisest course of action for trying to avoid spending money.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I don't have to, if I'm not gonna like it.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Jakester says that he watched the Direct with his mom, and she was internally screaming with the amount of customization you can do in the game. That's awesome that your mom loves Animal Crossing.
Oh, that's
fantastic.
wonderful.
And let's see. Looks like, yeah, he's see, I had fun fishing in Link's Awakening, Greg. See, Greg, Jakester is just like totally disagreeing with you, and I don't know. I think he's picking a fight.
I'm just not fishing.
Do you fish in real
It's
life?
a relaxing
Have a great
activity,
time.
but I don't fish in real life, and I never had too much interest in doing so.
Nice. Barry, what's your thoughts about the Direct and your excitement level on Animal Crossing New Horizons?
My excitement level jumped from seeing this Direct. Just, the standard stuff we knew about. The crafting is new. That's cool. But a lot of it's Animal Crossing that I've played since the GameCube days. But then they did the whole island construction thing where you can make waterfalls and you could build bridges and you could change the island, and like that is huge, because if you didn't get a good island layout in the older games, you were screwed. And this is just wow. You can move the houses where you want, you can customize it the way you want. I love that. And I was instantly couldn't wait till March 20th when I saw this Direct ended. And then I showed it to my wife because she was at work when it aired. She watched it a couple days later, and she went through the roof. She loved New Leaf, but now she's like, you know what? I want my own copy of the game. And she started playing Pocket Camp because there's a link with special items, and she didn't play Pocket Camp. Now she's playing Pocket Camp every day. So she is like super ready for this. And yeah, I am very much excited. But it's kind of funny because Rune Factory 4 has a lot of the same elements with the crafting as Animal Crossing. So I'm kind of already doing that right now. So I don't know if that's going to hinder jumping right into Animal Crossing after it or not. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to March 20th for sure.
Nice. Jakester also says that his mom spends about 4 hours on either New Leaf or Pocket Camp every day. So that's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That's precious.
So is the clock in the game just like tied to the real world clock? Cause
Yes,
I feel
it
like,
is.
Yep.
See, that's where it might be harder for me since I play at specific times during the day, like when I have free time, like after my daughter's in bed. So it's like it'd be kind of hard to do morning activities when I'm like going to work or whatever. So
Or you just mess with the internal clock like you used to on the DS and everything else.
That's something that's interesting though. Those free updates. If you notice, those free updates are all seasonal updates. So you can't boot the game up in March 20th and instantly change the date to December 25th to get the Christmas furniture. It's not in the game yet. You have to wait for that update to happen.
Yeah.
That's why the first update is Bunny Day, aka Easter. So it's interesting that they're doing that. It's like Nintendo's like, no, we don't want you to cheat, so we're gonna put that stuff in afterwards for free.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think my general thoughts are as a love-hate relationship with this Direct because I love that they're putting so much stuff in it, but it's actually making me slightly turned off to the game, as weird as that sounds, because I know, as we've talked about many times, I don't have that much time to game anymore. And so while it'd be great to be able to do all this stuff, I don't have as much time to pour into this game, and I know how much I poured into New Leaf and everything else, and this is going to demand more of my time.
But it's designed to be played just a little bit every day.
That's true. It's true.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's cool that it has so much stuff. But Oni, I know you're a big Animal Crossing fan, so what do you think about this Direct? And yeah, did your excitement level just go through the roof?
Well, firstly, I have to say, though, just get on the bus. Just buy the game anyway. I know you don't have time. I also don't have time. I got games I haven't even opened yet that I purchased. Just buy them. Consume product. Don't ask questions. That's the way Tom Nook likes it.
That's very true.
That's what Barry plays to.
Yeah, so I went, like, I'm of two minds about this because part of me is like, yo, I'm about this Animal Crossing life. The other part is like practical, and I'm like, listen, I got other games that I need to play, yada yada yada. And I like, okay, every time that like a new Nintendo mobile game comes out, I will play it for a bit. I'm really not into mobile games, unlike some of yourselves. So like I dropped all of the games off that I played mobile. However, Pocket Camp is the one that I stuck with for more than a month. Even though Fire Emblem Heroes, that's what it's called, right? Fire Emblem Heroes?
Yep.
Yes.
That one I played for a month and had to stop myself because I was having a real good time with that. But Pocket Camp, I stuck with that for over a month, and I was really enjoying that. So I know that the Animal Crossing, sickness runs in my veins. I know that for sure. And I haven't played an Animal Crossing game in a minute, so I'm raring to play this one. I was mildly interested, trying to pretend I wasn't interested before this Direct happened. As soon as it happened, I was like, "Oh my God! You could have a little pond, and you can make your own islands, and you can build your own like little library and stuff. Oh, and I can invite people over. Like, it's all the things that I want." And also, something that I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about is with the Direct. Maybe this was just really good marketing on the video production team's side of things, but I thought that all of the little animations were so cute and so precious. They had little animations that were things that you notice subconsciously and not actively. But like, for example, the little girl fanning herself with the Japanese fan, the uchiwa, and then as she was doing that, one of Tom Nook's little, what are their little hellions? What are they called?
Timmy and Tommy?
Timmy and Tommy, yeah. One of them was walking by and like walking her like, what's going on? Like, as she was fanning herself with the little uchiwa. And it's little things like that I live for in video games. Like when little bits of love are put into them, it makes me just appreciate it more.
There was the rocking out gorilla in the one scene doing the exercise.
Yeah. So I think I gotta buy this game.
Yeah.
Like, the practical part of me is like, no, don't do it, man. Like, what about Daemon X Machina?
Right.
What about Dragon Quest? You haven't even touched those.
Oh
Everyone's
man,
like-
Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
I know, right? I
my
like
game of the year.
specifically. I held off playing the PS4 version when that came out. First off, when that came out in Japan, then I waited for it because it came out in PS4, but we knew it was going to come out for Switch. So I had waited even more, and then it came out on the Switch, and I was like, "Yo, sorry, like there's a lot of things happening right now." So
Oh man.
that poor game. I'll get to it eventually.
Eventually, yeah. They should just put little ports of like the original NES games and the original one. You should just have a little port of Daemon X Machina inside Animal Crossing. There you go.
They haven't done that since the original.
It'd be so great. It'd be so great. Yeah, I think you hit on.
Draw a robot and put it on some of my furniture.
There you go.
In Animal Crossing.
I think the online aspect is the thing that, like, the crafting and everything is cool, but that doesn't like get me going when I think about the game. I think like I'm excited about having a significant online aspect to Animal Crossing, because it's something I've been wanting for a really long time, and I've never gotten into the console versions of Animal Crossing, but this one I'm excited to be into because of the online aspects of it, and I'm excited to like actually have people over and be able to occupy an island together and play games together and share stuff together, because it's been very minimal, I think, in the past games, and so I'm excited about actually experiencing this game with other people, and that's probably what will keep me coming back over time, because eventually I'll get tired of building things and crafting things and paying off my debt to Tom Nook, but the aspect of being able to play it with my friends, that's something that if it's good, will keep me coming back over time.
Yeah, totally. You seem like quite an online gamer, like you mentioned, like
Yeah.
Rocket League especially. What if there were like some sort of competitive aspect to Animal Crossing? Like,
God.
realistically, it would probably be like, well, who's whatever looks the best or whatever. Something little like that.
Oh, yeah.
But what if it was like, who could build the best froggy chair?
Online fishing
Could be.
tournament.
I was thinking the online fishing tournament. Yeah, Greg would be totally into it. But yeah, I don't know. I like the competition side. I like the online stuff. It depends on where it is. If it's creating, that's not my thing. Like, I love, like with Mario Kart or Mario Maker, I love playing other people's levels. Greg's the builder. He builds all the stuff. I just play his stuff. But if it's like a fishing competition, I could totally get behind that. I'm like, I can catch more fish in an hour. Let's do this right now.
That's on, Steve.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Like, and that's the thing. I think we could actually just do it on our own. We don't have to let Nintendo, take care of it. We can just have our own fishing competition. So.
That's kind of true. You could.
Yeah. So.
Or who can do the biggest fish in 30 minutes? You catch the biggest fish or the biggest beetle or something.
Right. I just wished that they didn't have to use the mobile app for voice chat. Just.
Yeah. Oh, that was something that Jakester mentioned in the chat before when we were talking about upside downside to the Switch, and that's a really good point. That's contentious, isn't it? The mobile app.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be nice if it was built in. I get it at some level, but I don't know. But at this point too, I know a lot of people just like flip over to Discord or whatever else to do their chatting, and so maybe we have moved on. I don't know. It all depends. At this level, if their online service is not that great, I'd rather use something like Discord or my phone or something like that, because I don't know if I can actually count on Nintendo's online service to give me a good voice experience or not.
Yeah, I'd be willing to accept like using your mobile device for voice chat if the online on the actual damn system was like already good and like stable and everything like that. I'd be like, yes, please save those RAM little bits for stabilizing the internet. But like, I don't know. I'm not against using a mobile device for your voice chat or whatever. I use Discord when I played like Splatoon and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that like Nintendo's mobile app is just like, ooh, that's rough. That's like, that's not even beta. That is alpha. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's move on. Animal Crossing is going to be here before we know it. In fact, I think it'd be what is it, like right after our next podcast, because our next podcast is going to be on the 17th. So we'll be
yeah.
almost at that point. But one of the things that we're going to have to wait on a little longer is GDC. So if you've, again, been living under a rock, you maybe haven't heard about this little thing called the coronavirus that's kind of been affecting our entire world, especially the Chinese, the country of China and all the people in that kind of area there, but also so it's now affecting United States and other countries and stuff as well. And GDC has actually put out an official statement that they are going to be postponing GDC this year to the summer because of all these things going on. There was a bunch of companies that already had backed out from the 2020 show, and they just made the call to actually just postpone it until the summer. So we don't really know a lot of information about this, but I just wanted to kind of get your guys' thoughts just about the postponing. Was it a good idea? Do you think this will affect GDC at all this year? So yeah, of course, a lot of this is just kind of speculation because we don't really know anything, but we like to go to speculation town around here on the NintendoFuse. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? Barry, let's go to you first. Just your general thoughts about this postponing of GDC.
I mean, it sucks. It sucks at any time that we're dealing with health issues, and I don't blame them, especially after everyone started backing out. They really had no choice. The decision was given to them or made for them pretty much with so many companies. I mean, you had Sony and Microsoft already out on top of other companies, Facebook and Oculus. They had no choice. And PAX East was just this past weekend, and there were companies like Sony that backed out of that, which it did still go on. It went on without a hitch and had a great turnout. But it seems that people are getting a little more scared, and I know a lot of companies out there. Even my wife's company was pretty much like, no, don't fly anywhere for business. Do Skype meetings. Just if you don't have to go out, don't go out. Like, it's all health concern. And granted, the media is making it a little more crazy than it probably is. The real impact is going to be seen in summer, and what I mean by that is we don't know what these companies planned for GDC, but if they had anything planned that was timely, it may not be timely anymore because it might be for a spring or for a summer game, and by the time GDC happens in the summer, that game is out. Their whole booth could be ruined for this whole year. All their plans could be ruined, and that it could cancel the show, or if it does go on, be a shadow of itself, which of course people will start to speculate, oh look, this is the death of trade shows because of this, and really it has nothing to do with it. But I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously it's scary. It's a scary thing in the world. I do expect to see some announcements later this month that would have been announced at GDC, just announced online. Because pretty much that's when they were planned to be announced anyways. It's kind of like when they had to postpone that the Nintendo Direct by a week because it was a tsunami in Japan, and then like some companies started just releasing their trailers or stuff. Things were announced, and obviously that had a negative effect on the Direct the next week when people started watching and commenting, oh, we knew about this already. Well, no, duh. So that's what I really am waiting to see, the true fallout of it. But it sucks, and I hope it doesn't affect E3. Yeah. Because E3 is gamer Christmas, and if they say, all right, well, we're gonna postpone E3 or cancel E3, that's huge. A lot of companies look to that time to announce what they want to announce, except Sony. Sony's doing their own thing. Microsoft and Nintendo and Ubisoft and Activision, and they're all there. They want to show off their stuff. Bethesda. Sometimes Square shows up. Let's see. What would be funny is if E3 gets postponed, but Konami shows up. They decide to do a press conference now, and it's just them. Like, that would be the best E3 probably, just for that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, only I'm interested in your thoughts, but also maybe that how would it affect? Like, could it actually affect E3? Like, I'm wondering if it could affect it in a positive way. Could people actually put their stuff off and they're like, you know what, we'll just put it off and announce it at E3. Maybe E3 becomes even bigger than usual. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, my thoughts are firstly, I think that it is a really good decision on the GDC's part, or whoever, what organization group runs the GDC. It is a responsible decision that they made, to do this. I think though that like it's just going to depend on like the world situation where like is this going to get even worse than it gets better, you know? And if so, like even E3 is going to get delayed or canceled or something like that, and such is just going to be a domino effect, you know? I don't think that it's going to get better in the next month or so that like a situation like that would happen where they'd be like, you know what, GDC is going to get small for this year and then E3 is going to blow up or something like that. It's really weird. It's strange also because like E3 is like becoming such a like hands-off kind of announcement event where like attending but not necessarily attending the actual convention, attending the area is becoming like the thing that you do for the industry. And I've talked about this before on the Nintendo Everything podcast before, where I say that it's really good to have these big industry meetups where it's GDC, PAX, Tokyo Game Show, and such, because it's important to have an excuse to bring so many collaborative creatives together to do that kind of thing. And then, you know, have these meetings that like end up springing into a video game. You know, they're like, you know what the hell, we're all here, so why not, let's just, you know, meet up and have a meeting over this game proposal or something like that. Things like that happen all the time. So I think it's really good to have these events that facilitate it. So I think that, you know, the inevitable and blameless decision to delay this event or even further events is really going to have a ripple effect on the entire industry and other industries, of course, too. But we're just talking about video games.
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely affects a lot more than video games, for sure.
Yeah.
Greg, what do you think about this delay and actually, I'd like to hear your thoughts about that potential ripple effect that might happen.
I've been just kind of. I mean, obviously it stinks to have to delay it, but obviously the health concern is still like a legitimate thing. So I kind of just pretty much echo with like what Barry and like Ani were saying. It's pretty much they have to do what they need to do, and things might there might be repercussions, like if it's just a smaller show or whatever, things getting pushed to E3. So I mean, it's just really unfortunate, but I mean, the world still has to figure out like getting like a proper vaccination and cure for this to stop it from getting even worse than it already is. So I mean,
and like on a molecular level, we know that that's going to take time. Like you can't rush that.
It's not like it's coming out tomorrow or anything like that. It's like it's still going to be months away. So even possibly even more than that, it could be a year away, 2 years, 3. I mean, you'd hate to think that, but you don't know. I mean, we're not the ones studying it. We don't know what they've been trying and what's left to try and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, but I mean, I've also kind of seen the decline of like some of the trade shows, like E3, because I mean, Nintendo no longer does like a stage show there. It's always been like the Nintendo Direct since I don't know, like it's almost been what, like 6 years. Someone called
whenever the last time that we were there, Greg, I think.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, all of that just seems to get more digitized, so everyone could be a part of it. So, I mean, I know there's still like meetings behind closed doors and like collaborations, as you were saying, Ani, but I mean, I feel like in general, some of those have kind of decreased a little bit just to have more of like a everyone can be there digitally type of it, part of it. So,
yeah,
it's interesting, and I wonder, like, too. I mean, we've speculated a lot about this especially when we talk about E3 and stuff with different companies like Sony and pulling out and doing different things. And is that going to be a trend, especially if the virus and everything does have a long-term effect? Will we see that ripple effect, and will we start seeing things like E3 and GDC and maybe other gaming events throughout the year start to turn to online? And maybe they use that period of time to release things, but is there a need to bring people together if we're potentially going to get each other sick? Like, is the health concerns going to win out, and we're actually going to like, hey, we could easily just put this online and have a good enough effect on everybody, get the word out there. We'll have meetings behind closed doors at other times because it doesn't really matter if we have it around E3 time or GDC time or whatever. We can do those other times and keep people a lot healthier, maybe. I don't know. Barry, it seems like you got some thoughts.
Yeah, just thinking, what if they change the format, and because of this they decide that they are going to request to not have E3 as a standard show floor, have still have the conferences prior to E3 if like Microsoft wants to put it on and Ubisoft wants to put it on, that's fine. Nintendo's going to do Nintendo Direct no matter what. They film it anyway. But then have, the Treehouse can still broadcast as if they just do it in their home office, and we'll still get that from Nintendo. But instead of having the show floor, they could put those game demos online and say, look, now everyone can experience E3. You don't have to go to a Best Buy, or you don't have to actually come to the show floor, because we want to keep people at home. You want to play this new demo from Nintendo? Well, you could download it for a limited time, like time demo on the eShop for free, give it a play and feedback. And the same with every other company for other systems. That would be huge, because then everyone can experience it. It's not just watching a journalist play, not just watching over the shoulder camera shot, or hearing people talk about it because they couldn't even show footage. But now it's like, hey, you know what? I can play this. I can give my feedback. And as long as you understand that some of it's rough or alpha or beta, I think that would be great. I would think that would actually connect people more, ironically, even without them actually going.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting, right? Like, if we look through history, I mean, this is taking us away from video games a little bit, right? But it usually is like world tragedies or things like this that really affect us all, that make us change our mindset and how we approach things. Change doesn't happen until something really just shakes it up, like in a big way. And so could our health actually change how we approach marketing in video games? Like, that's a crazy thought, but it could, because like, hey, do we actually need to be doing this the same way we have been doing it for the last 25 years? Maybe there's a different way to do it that actually keeps people healthier, and it may actually, like you said, Barry, get better feedback because it's putting it out for more people than just journalists to see. And you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to get on a flight, book a hotel, and pay for an entrance fee.
Yeah, I'm sorry to bring this up again, but like on last week's episode, I think, or maybe the week before, of Nintendo Everything podcast, we talked about like E3. No, it was a couple weeks ago. Whatever. We talked about like the consumer side and the business side, because there's at least two very different sides of E3 and trade shows and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well, what are your goals on performing this? With the consumer facing aspect, I think that, like, honestly, it could go all digital, and E3 would be fine. But in terms of the business side of things, I think that human contact and bringing people together is really integral. So I see it from that point of view, just because I've been there and worked there just once, like not trying to flex my arm here or anything like that, but just saying with that perspective. But oh God, I forgot my other point. Oh no, what were you talking about, Barry? The other thing that you mentioned.
Just about how more people can actually play. But
yeah.
one thing you did say, and that got me thinking, is you're right with the human interactions. And there are some moments that I still go back to and watch, like the Twilight Princess reveal, that, the you get the chills just watching that, and seeing things like Miyamoto come on stage for Mario and Rabbids, and seeing the developer there, like, literally in tears, because here's Miyamoto talking about this game. So good.
So good.
and things like that, and obviously, the whole, the Saturn launch, the debacle, and then, Sony's response, and obviously Sony's response to the Xbox One. Just those things are classic, and of course Konami's a giant meme. Those will absolutely live in history, and it would suck to never get a new moment like that.
Right.
Because those are amazing, and they could only be done with humans there.
That's true.
Yeah, I super agree, but I think that's like 1 out of 10 times something like that will happen.
100%.
And like, as much as you and I both love those things, like from a business perspective, it's like 9 out of 10 times is like Wii Music, right? With that one guy playing the drums with his that's never not funny.
Or the fireworks.
Or the fireworks.
Nintendo Land.
Yeah.
Oh, I was there for that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like
that was the last show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like, I understand, like, it makes sense, from a business perspective for them to do that. But like, so with the demos that you mentioned, I wanted to talk about that for a second. Like, there are many demos that, of course, they tell, the people who are playing them, whether it's the journalists or the, the influencers or whatever, that, hey, no footage is capable. Or yes, you can record direct or only over the shoulder with a person in the shot, that kind of thing, because they don't want these impressions to be, spread on the internet and then be misconstrued as like, oh, this is what the game looks like. And then people are like, oh, well, what? That just clipped through that. And like, God, this kind of looks like crap. Those kinds of impressions are impossible to erase from the internet, Yeah. So I understand when there's like those kinds of things with the demo. So I understand why they're not fully playable. But then like the demos that are like, no, you can direct feed capture this or whatever. Why don't publishers put out demos like that on their, electronic shops or whatever they are, for more people to play? That just builds excitement for games, right? And that would help with mitigating, bringing it all the way back, mitigating if, events got delayed or canceled or whatnot,
Yeah.
Well, they did that with Demon X Machina. They did a timed demo. They asked for feedback.
And Octopath Traveler, right?
Octopath Traveler as well. And both of those demos were great demos, and they got a lot of feedback, and it actually helped the final games so much more.
Right.
That invested me in those games.
Right. So I think that we need both and, really. We need those times where people can come together, but then, like, throw us some stuff at home, too. Like, when we experience this.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to Best Buy in the city,
Right. And there's never the Best Buy that's close. Never.
No. Well, especially where I'm at, they don't like to do it in my area. New York City is right across the water, so go to the city. Like, I don't want to pay to go to the city to wait in line to play 2 minutes of a demo.
Right.
That's a lot of work.
Around all those other people, like, ugh, no way.
That's right.
I mean,
I didn't go to GDC because
they did it once local here, which was Smash. From Smash Wii U, they did that here, and I did video footage of that, and that took like 3 hours to play one round of Smash Brothers. It was like not worth it. But it was interesting talking to other people, but it still was 3 hours I didn't get back.
Right. All right. Well, that's enough for our big news. I do have a couple quick things that came out just this week. First of all, Mario Kart Tour is finally getting their online multiplayer. That's coming on March 8th. So this Sunday, you're going to be able to finally play the multiplayer, real-time, like actually multiplayer on Mario Kart Tour. Quick, just around the horn, is this actually exciting to you, or are you just like, whatever, I don't care about Mario Kart anymore? Greg, what do you think?
I've been a big pass on Mario Kart Tour. I'm waiting for Mario Kart 9. Thank you very much.
All right. Oni, how about you?
Oh, I super don't care. Like, I have an old phone, so like it runs it. It does run it. Okay, I played the beta, the closed beta or whatever, but I don't care. I'm so sorry.
Barry?
I played a little bit of the multiplayer, but it's one of those things where the game is not built as a standard Mario Kart. It's all point based. So, like, when I first started playing even the standard game, I was annoyed because it would automatically drop the items I had whenever I hit an item box to give me new items. And I actually turned that feature off. I'm like, no, because I like to hold on to those items in case I need a shield. And then when I realized how the game worked, I still have that feature turned off, but I use my items before an item box right away because it's all about points and all. It's fundamentally a different game. So, I mean, I played a little bit of the multiplayer and it was fun, but it's still... I'm just happy playing a little bit every night, or every other night, and I probably won't touch it.
Yeah, I'll play it at least a little bit, but what I want them to do is turn the screen sideways and give me controller support, and basically just turn it into a real Mario Kart game. So because it's not.
If Mario Kart. Don't have the right racer, you're at an immediate disadvantage.
Yeah, totally.
Like if you don't. Because every course has like favorite racers, favorite karts, favorite gliders. So if I have a favorite racer, that means every time I get an item box, I'm getting 3 items with the chance of getting a frenzy, which is 3 of the same items. But if you don't, and you only have like a standard racer that's not good on that particular course, just on others, you only get 1 item per. So if your item is a coin, you're SOL to the next item box, where even if I get 2 coins, I at least get another item. I'm still in a more powerful position.
And the multipliers as well, like if you...
the points,
the points, like, if you just have one that's just 1x, then there's like, what's the point? You have to at least have 2x or 3x to actually get points. So
it's 1.5, and 2.
or
so
yeah, okay. That shows you how the last time I played it. So,
Reasons I'm not playing Mario Kart Tour.
there you go. Yeah. Jakester in the chat says he says screw Mario Kart Tour. So yeah. All right. Also, just in time for you, Greg, finishing Luigi's Mansion 3. It's time to actually use that online subscription, because we just got an email about a couple hours ago, right before we actually went live on the podcast, that the multiplayer pack Part 1 is now available for Luigi's Mansion 3. And I'm just going to read from the press release. It says that the DLC adds 3 bone-chilling new costumes that Luigi can don in the Scarescraper mode. It also adds matching spooky themes that randomly appear in the Scarescraper mode and will transform the appearance of the tower's floors. Get ready to slam some specters too, because you might bump into new themed ghost or 2 when you are in there. If you've already got, or if you've still got nerves of remaining, take a stroll over to the multiplayer Scream Park mode as well, where there are 3 new Madcap mini-games await you.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So if
double
you
the content.
got the multiplayer pack, if you preloaded it or pre-bought it, it should be probably downloading or already done downloading for you. But yeah, are you guys excited about the multiplayer pack Part 1 at all? Greg, what do you think?
Not really.
Not really.
I didn't really
Not
get
enough.
into-
It's not enough.
Yeah, I didn't really get. Yeah, I tried the
Pulling you in.
multiplayer on the Dark Moon, and I didn't really think it was anything fantastic. So, even though they had announced it for Luigi's Mansion 3, I was like, that's probably still gonna be a hard pass. I was more getting it just for the exploration and puzzle solving in the game,
Yeah. All right.
not for the online components.
Okay. It's $10. Oni, is $10 enough for this? You already get it?
I did not get it. I need to play more Luigi's Mansion 3 in the first place, but I'm so very much like a solo gamer. Like, even when I play online, like, it's really with one other person, so I could see myself getting this, but realistically, I probably won't. I don't know. Nothing says spooky like March, though, you know?
That's right.
Now's the time to play this game.
Yes. Barry, are you going to be grabbing this? No.
It's
Angry
again.
face.
It's multiplayer. Like, it was like, oh, new DLC. I'm like, oh, maybe there's gonna be like a new floor or a sub basement or something. Nope. It's multiplayer.
Yep.
And I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy they're adding new content to the game. I'm happy for those that love the multiplayer, that absolutely have been having a blast, and then I'm happy for you guys. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
Especially because it's paid. If it was free, maybe I'd check it out.
Yeah.
That's what's so weird, right, about this. Like, of course, you think like multiplayer games, like maybe Mario Kart or something like that, that if they add multiplayer DLC, then like people would pay for it. But like, why Luigi's Mansion 3? Like, I know that there's like a multiplayer mode in there, but you would think that to encourage people to play online more, they would do free DLC, like what they've really done for so many of their games. But I don't know, just the weirdest one to do multiplayer DLC instead of
Why did Luigi's Mansion 3 get multiplayer DLC before Super
Splatoon.
Mario Party?
Oh,
Or-
Super Mario Party.
yeah.
Splatoon had a whole bunch of DLC, like, for
But it was all
a year.
free.
Right?
Yeah, but Super Mario Party has 4 boards. Like, everyone's like, more boards, please.
True.
DLC.
Yes.
It's only half the game.
Galen and I have like been screaming about that. Like, why have there not been any boards? Like, paid, free, whatever, just give them to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, so Luigi's Mansion gets double the scare part.
Well, here's the thing. I left out the big part. This might change your mind. As a special bonus for purchasing the DLC, you actually receive an in-game Polterpup light called the Flashlight Type P, and you can use that during the story mode or Scarescraper. Now, how much would you pay?
Ghost. I have the boo light, and it's all cosmetic.
Yeah.
Nothing.
What does it do?
It's cosmetic.
Yeah.
It
But I
makes
mean,
It
like,
shows
like,
it would
flash-
probably just show a picture of the dog, because that's what the boo light does. Like,
Yeah,
if you
changes.
shine the
Oh.
blue light on a wall, it shows like a boo. Like
Like a
I've
Batman.
actually,
Kinda.
Ah.
Yeah.
I've actually equipped that and was playing around with it because I captured all the boos.
Yeah, but it's called cosmetic. It's not necessary at all for the game.
But it's there. But if you do want part 2, will be out at the end of July. So so you got a little bit longer to wait for multiplayer pack DLC part 2. But yeah, end of July. So
July
maybe
also a perfect month for the spookiness.
that is true.
Yeah,
Maybe when
totally.
GDC gets postponed to, who knows? We make it. That's the special reveal at GDC. Is multiplayer
Nothing about
pack
like waiting
2.
for like the 13th of the month or something.
It's true.
Is there a Friday the 13th in July?
I don't know.
Now I gotta check.
Well, as you're checking, I do want to thank everybody
Yeah.
for tuning in to the NintendoFuse Podcast today. And remember that you guys can follow us on social media. We're pretty much on all the major platforms out there. We'd love to have any questions you guys wanted us to address in a future episode. Also, be sure to jump in our Discord server because we love to keep that conversation going between our episodes. And if you have not yet, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell on YouTube to be alerted every time we post a new video. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to Nintendo Everything as well. So before we wrap up, we'd love to talk about just what we're hoping to be playing, what we're looking forward to over the next couple weeks until our next episode. So a couple games that jumped out to me that are coming out over the next couple weeks is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX is coming out on March 6th, though. What is that, like 3 days away?
Yep.
Almost 4, so we're almost into to Wednesday now. Yeah, so that's coming out on March 6th. And then, one of my favorites, RBI Baseball. They're going to try again on March 17th, so we'll see how RBI Baseball 20 goes. I'm rooting for another bad one because I don't think they ever listen to the suggestions I have. Be able to see where the ball's coming. Anyhow, you can listen to all my other rants about that on my other videos on the previous game chats. But yeah, how about you guys? Any games that you're really hyped for over the next couple weeks? Barry, let's go to you first.
I was thinking about the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I did do the demo. It was cute. I am not a fan of the way it moves though because it's all grid based, but it feels like it shouldn't be grid based. So it's kind of awkward. So a lot of times I just push the auto button, just let it auto do the dungeon for me. But I'm gonna get it. Whether or not I play it really depends on how fast I finish Rune Factory and how soon from then is Animal Crossing. That's RBI Baseball is. I'm waiting for it to be good to give it a try. Although I really need to get
3
you in
years running.
contact. I need to get you in contact with the guy who does the port for that because he's a friend of mine. On the
problem
Switch.
is the original game is bad. Like I'm sure it's ported fine. It's just the game itself just needs to be fixed.
It goes deeper than we thought. The call is coming from inside the house.
I was like, with the game here, I'm gonna derail this for a little bit. With the game that, like baseball, that is based so much on depth perception, when that ball is coming in, where it is, height, the whole like x-axis, y-axis, all that's important. Now, where it's coming across the plate, all I can do is tell whether there's left or right. I don't know where I can swing at it or not. The ball might be in the dirt. I don't know. I have no idea how to tell if it's high or low. And
You're missing like 50%.
yeah, pretty much. And same thing with pitching. Like I have no idea how to aim that ball where I want it across there. It's kind of like a crapshoot. I'm just like, somewhat in that area. Throw it down there. We'll see what happens. And so,
Aren't you so glad the show is going multi-platform?
I hope it's so much better. I hope it's actually a decent port. Like that's what I'm hoping for. But at least they fixed Home Run Derby, because was it 18? I think it was that you had to sit through the entire round for a computer player was ridiculous. Like you should just be able to push a button, bypass it, see how many home runs they got. But I had to sit there and wait the entire time until they finished. That was awful.
The most fun part about video games is sitting there and waiting.
Right?
So,
like I'd rather just flip over and actually watch a real baseball game instead of a computer player just sitting there swinging.
yeah.
Anyhow, Greg, what are you excited about over the next couple weeks?
Pretty much nothing was on like this main list. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon kind of interest me, but I'm probably not going to be diving into that quite yet.
Play the demo first.
Yeah, I can probably look at doing that because Pokemon Sword is coming right around the corner once I finish Lucky Tales. So I did purchase King Lucas that we had talked about from a month ago. I haven't even fired that up yet, so I might get a chance to look at that a little bit. But I don't think nothing really much in these next few weeks that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah. Oni, how about you?
Actually, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So, for games that already came out that I still need to really sink my teeth into, Kemono Heroes, which I talked a little bit about last week on the Nintendo Everything podcast. It's like a 2D action platformer, very reminiscent of like a late Super Nintendo era game with the pixel aesthetic, and very heavy on doing combos and stuff like that. Looking forward to really getting into that more this week and giving more impressions next week. Same with Warriors Orochi for Ultimate. The Ultimate expansion came out not too long ago. I think it was like February 14th or something like that. So I finally got my hands on it, and I played it a little bit last week, and that is a meaty game. There's so much going on with it, and I really need to just spend a day to sit down and explore the systems that game has to offer. But to properly answer your question, for games that are coming out in between your next podcast, Murder by Numbers is a indie game coming out in just a couple of days. I think it's like the 5th or the 6th. That is I think it's a digital only title, but I'm sure this is getting enough press, and if it sells well enough, it'll probably end up getting like a limited run games thing or whatever for physical. But this is a visual novel and logic puzzle mixture of a game with my favorite aspect, Picross styled puzzles. So
oh my god, this sounds amazing.
And it's really, really, really great looking. I can't wait to get it. I've already pre-purchased it and everything. Can't wait for it to just unlock. But it's got Ace Attorney vibes to it with the inspecting and figuring things out. And then it also has, visual novel stuff with your characters and character-driven story progression. But then you also solve Picross puzzles, which are my absolute favorite thing. I am crazy for Picross. My number one played game on the Nintendo 3DS was Pokemon Picross.
Nice.
I literally deleted all of my data and then replayed the game again because do I not have other games to play? Yes, I do. But what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, I love that game too. That and the Twilight Princess.
Yes, I did the same thing with Twilight Princess.
Nice. That's awesome.
So yeah, that's
I had not heard about that game, and that is very intriguing. I might have to look into that.
Yeah, you really should. I'm gonna reach out to the developers or the publisher sometime soon to see if I can do something to help promote their game, because I love to lift up the little guy. In terms of indie developers and whatnot, because it looks so special.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I usually do cover MLB, the RBI baseball, so we'll see how this one goes. So I'll probably end up playing it and probably be disappointed. Spoiler alert. I'm intrigued by the Mad Age in this guy game that I purchased for 14 cents. So I'm gonna be playing that over the next couple weeks and give my impressions next time. There was another game that I saw. In fact, actually, this has nothing to do with games that are coming out, but there's been massive sales on the eShop over the last several weeks.
Yeah.
And one of the games that was on sale that I saw when I was buying Mad Age and this guy, have you guys seen? I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically you're shooting ski jumpers.
What?
Yeah. It's exactly what I said.
On Steam?
Yes,
it sounds like it's
shooting.
On Steam.
It probably was on Steam, but yeah, you the description, the gaming description is have you ever thought about what it would take to shoot down a ski jumper? I'm like, no, I've never thought that my entire life. But it's essentially like shooting skeet, but it's ski jumpers that come off the thing, and you're aiming and shooting them as they go down. So I may end up getting it because it's so interesting, but we'll see. So yeah, if you're
discovered Steve's fetish.
Well, I don't quite call it that, but it's intriguing enough to, I don't know. We'll see.
I'm super looking forward to hearing about your impressions on what is it, RBI, not MLB.
Yeah, RBI
right?
baseball. Yeah. Yeah.
I love when somebody just like devotes their time to being like, okay, this long running series or this long running whatever, I'm so disappointed by it, but I'm disappointed because I want it to be better. Because then I know that their criticisms are coming from an informed point of view. It's not just them bashing the game or being, whatever internet crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's you genuinely coming from an intelligent point of view criticizing the game. I love that. Even if I don't give a damn about like whatever it is, I love that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah. There's a very strong desire for me to actually enjoy the game, but I don't know. Recent years has not been so good, but there's still hope. There's still hope. Yeah.
What's interesting is that RBI is actually coming out the same day as the show, so it's like it's going to be cannibalized right at the start.
Pretty much, unless they show up. Like, if they really do, they actually have listened, then it could be. It's got so much potential because it's like totally backed by MLB, and so like it could be there, but we'll see because it's always the less expensive game as well. That's one of the cool things
it's made
about
by MLB too, isn't it?
Right. So it's got so much potential there, but they're just gonna make a few changes, and it's worth it because I kind of like the arcadiness of RBI baseball more than the more simulator stuff behind the show. I think there's room for both, and they just needed a tweak and actually make the enhancements. So we'll see. Greg, we're back. We missed you for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like everything just froze, and I was like, "What's going on?" It's something with me, and then all of a sudden it was like it said, "Oh, no internet," and I'm like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, that would give
like
a problem.
my Wi-Fi source is like literally like a foot or two away from my computer. How did I lose the internet?
Good old American internet.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
And this is why people want to hold digital. What? No, we don't have the infrastructure for it. We need physical games.
Yeah, how's your Stadia doing, Greg?
Oh man.
That's
This
funny.
is why I don't play like Smash Brothers.
Exactly. There you go.
Well,
is even, like,
Nintendo
competitive-
Switch Online really that bad, or is it just your
It could just be all of our internet. And I have high speed like fiber, and it still is like sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same.
we've cut the cord, so I mean, we depend all on internet. So like, I don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
Like, we have like high speeds and stuff. Like, I don't know why it just like dropped. I was connected to the access point that's like 2 feet away from this computer.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
It's all a conspiracy.
Yeah.
They hate you.
Oh man, Oni, it's been great to have you on as a guest tonight. Tell us where to find you online. People are, I'm sure, going to want to continue connecting with you. So where can they find you and all that you're doing?
Yes. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's been a total pleasure. It's great to talk to new friends about video games and all that kind of stuff. So thank you very much for having me. And for any of you lovely people who are tuning in, if you would like to follow me, probably the best contact is Twitter. So my Twitter is @Oni_Dino. That's ONI_DINO. Then I have like Instagram and stuff too. That's Oni__Dino. I use that sometimes, but not regularly. Twitter is the main thing, and we'll just go from there. You know what? I'm not going to try and put you into like a really difficult relationship with me. Let's just start with Twitter, and we'll see how things go.
See how things go. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, there's a YouTube, and wait, no. You have to listen to the podcast. Okay, sorry, it's a little bit more deeper than I thought.
Yeah.
Please listen to the Nintendo Everything podcast. We're on pretty much all of the podcast platforms. You know, we're on YouTube if you want to listen to it on that, but we're also on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iTunes, of course, Spotify, which is like a big one for us recently, and just whatever you want to use, Podbean, all these other things I've never heard of before. Please do check us out.
Yeah, cool.
And also, if I may say, we will have Barry on very soon. So if you would like this kind of synergy that we have going on here, get a little more Barry action that you crave over on the Nintendo Everything podcast very soon. So please do check that out.
Yeah.
you're fun to argue with Barry over there too. You can add more fires over there.
Really? He's a
No.
JRPG guy. We synergize.
It's true.
all right?
I'm actually feeling for Galen is what I'm feeling. It's,
No, nobody needs to feel for Galen. Believe me, that man is enormously tall. He can be a punching bag. It's fine. Barry and I are JRPG kindred spirits. I know we're gonna get along just fine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're coming for you, Galen.
Double team next week.
Yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, to everybody that's been listening, watching along, joining us in the chat, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Episode 192 is wrapping up. We'll be back on March 17th on St. Patrick's Day with our next episode. Maybe we'll dress all in green or something. I don't know. Just honor Luigi in our next episode. Who knows? But yeah, March 17th. Again, if you've never joined us live, be sure to do that. We'd love to have you join us. We go live right about 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time, and you can figure out the ones in between. That's where Greg and I live, in between. But yeah, we'd love to have you guys joining in the chat. We love just hearing what you guys have to say about all the things that we talk about. But until next time, thanks for tuning in and happy gaming.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
See you guys later.